Good morning, boys and girls. It is a pleasure to be back with you after being gone for so long. As you can see, we're about to start on Lesson 10. Please make sure you write the day's date and also the topic, which is adding fractions. And actually, we are going to be adding fractions today with sums larger than 2. Now, just in case you've forgotten, the word sum is the answer to an addition problem. We're also going to be simplifying our answers today, so I have the word simplify right here. And what that means is reducing the numerator and denominator to a smaller but equivalent fraction. For example, if I were to draw a box that had 2/4 filled in, 1, 2, and this would be 2/4, I would see if I drew another box and I filled in exactly the same amount of space, but didn't have that extra line right here, I would see, oh, 2/4 is the exact same as 1/2. This is a simplified fraction for 2/4. It's the same thing. Both numbers are smaller, even though it takes up the same amount of space. So it's an equivalent fraction. You need to know that word. Our learning goal today is that I am able to add mixed numbers and show my thinking on a number line. And we'll get into that here in just a second. Make sure you pause and record these notes in your notebook. Alright guys, this is the first problem we're going to solve here. This is 3 1/2 plus 4 7/8 equals n. N is our variable. So again, that's 3 1/2 plus 4 7/8. And on your paper, I want you to write this problem up top, and then I want you to write a number line down here. And remember, we include the arrows on the end because 0 through 10 isn't the only set of numbers on the number line. There are numbers to the left of 0 that are negative, and there are numbers greater than 10. We are just focusing on this range right here because our answer, our sum to 3 1/2 plus 4 7/8 is going to be somewhere in this section of the number line. I know that because 3 plus 4 is 7, and then we have, it's going to be a little bit more than that. So take your time right now, make sure you draw a nice number line and have it evenly divided up into 10 sections. Remember, these are whole numbers down here as well, not fractions. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so we're going to include some fractions on the top. I'll let you get set up though. Alright, I moved my number and number line down just a little bit to give myself a little bit more room to work with. So I'm just going to go ahead and start adding. Now, what I'm noticing here is, again, we have two whole numbers. We have 3 and we have 4. So on my number line, I'm just going to go ahead and show those because that's not a big problem. So I'm going to start at 0. We're first going to go to 3, so that's plus 3. And then we're going to add 4 to that. So I'm just going to count over 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my line is going to wind up right at 7. So that's 7. So that's plus 4. Now we've already taken care of the whole number problem in the, the whole number part of the problem down below. We've taken care of 3 plus 4. Now we just have to solve what is 1/2 plus 7/8. And that's not too hard to do. Again, we've kind of talked about this pattern right here where we go, we multiply 2 times 8, and then 8 times 1, and 2 times 7. So that's exactly what we'll do right now. And I remember that 8 times 2 is 16, and that 8 times 1 is 8, and that 2 times 7 is 14. Now I just have to add those numbers together. We have, let's see, we know that 16 is going to be on the bottom because we never add the denominator together, and 8 plus 14 is 22. Now hold on a second. This is an improper fraction. I've got 22/16, that's too much. So what I need to do is separate out the whole and think about how many 16ths I have left. Well, I know that 16/16 makes one whole. And I know that if I pull out that one whole, then what I'll have is 6/16 left, because 6 plus 16 equals 22. So basically, what I'm going to have here, if you'll excuse my kind of sloppy handwriting here, is 1 and 6/16. So I can take this part and bring it back down to the number line now. So I need to add 1, which is just going to be a jump from 7 to 8. That's plus 1. And then we're going to have 6/16. somewhere in here. Now, here's the problem. I can't draw 16 slashes on my number line. It's too much. This is where we need to simplify. Now, when you simplify, sorry, I had to move things around there. I went ahead and wrote 6/16 here. When you simplify, earlier on, I believe in lesson 3, or excuse me, in the very first lesson, we learned how to make equivalent fractions. So, for example, if I just multiplied the top and the bottom of this by 2, I would get a larger equivalent fraction. I would get 12/32. Now, interestingly enough, instead of multiplying, what I'm going to do is divide the top and the bottom by 2, and that will give me a smaller quotient. It will give me a smaller quotient. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, divide 6 by 2, and I'm going to divide 16 by 2. How many times will 2 go into 6? Well, it will go in 3 times. And how many times will 2 go into 16? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. If you're counting on your fingers, that is 8 times. So I see that my reduced fraction from 6/16 is 3/8. And that I actually can draw in here. I'm just going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4. Oop, it's a little bit hard because my stylus is not very good. But I can see right here, all I need to do is take my line and go 1, 2, 3 spaces over. So it's going to go boop, right there, plus 3/8. And I see here, all together, I've added 3 plus 4 plus 1 plus 3/8. So my answer, I can see on the number line, is 8 3/8. So in this example we found, I'm going to pause, we found that in this example, n equals 8 3/8. Let's review one more time quickly what happened here. So what we did was we first added the whole numbers 3 and 4 to the number line. We showed 3 and then 4. Easy enough. Which left us with 1/2 and 7/8 left to add. We multiplied those together and found a common denominator for them in 16. Remember, we had 22/16. Then we made that into a mixed number, and we found that we had 1 and 6/16. We added the 1 right here, plus 1. And then we reduced this fraction. That sounds like a lot, but it really makes sense. So this is our answer right up here. All right, guys, this is the point for reflection here. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4 system down here. I just want to remind you guys how important it is to think about how well you understand a lesson or an idea. Now, we have really got 2 things that we need to achieve in our learning goal here. I am able to add mixed numbers, so that's one thing, and show my thinking on a number line. That's another thing. So if you can't do either of those things, or you struggle, or maybe you understand part of it, but you consistently get an incorrect answer, you might be a 1. If you can add mixed numbers, but can't use a number line to do it, or you can use a number line, but you struggle with the fraction portion of it, you might be a 2. If you can do both, you're a 3. And if you can use other models or help other people to solve a similar problem and teach them how to do it, well then guess what? You would be a 4 in that situation. So make sure in your notes you're writing a good reflection. If you say you're a 2, say why. If you say you're a 3, don't just say I can do it both. Give me a little bit more than that, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Think about it. And if you maybe feel like you're a 2, if you're not quite sure, rewind. Go back, watch the lesson again, or try and solve the problem on your own and see if you can do it. See if you can do it and try until you can do it on your own, okay? All right, good luck, guys.